I want to talk more about strategies to get more photovoltaics through more demand and lower price. The German government apparently, which has made a strong commitment to solar electricity, allows for unlimited net metering, meaning that if you have a solar generating system at your house, not only can you pay can you get credit so that you have up to a zero utility bill, but you can get paid for generating electricity into the grid. Now, I had a conversation, I interviewed this morning the spokesperson for the LADWP on this subject, and she didn't make a big deal about it, but she was pretty adamant that that's not going to happen here in LA, that the most you're going to get is a zero bill. You're going to get credit.
Right.
Do you think it would make sense, and it would in fact encourage some of the investors or banks to invest in individuals and businesses to put photovoltaics or Stirling engines on their buildings, become sources of electricity, and be able to sell it back into the grid? Or do you think the utilities are just reluctantly allowing net metering to zero now, and it would be too big a political, economic issue to fight them on that? Do you think that would help create demand, lower prices, make it more widespread?
I think over time they may change their mind on the ultimate optimum kind of net metering, which is where you could actually get paid for it. Because there's many things just a few scant years ago that said we'll never do that. They've done things like that.
Because if they would pay people for it, then people could borrow money on a promise to pay part of that money back to the lender, and thereby put capitalism in its purest form in support of a real fast rollout of photovoltaics.
Yeah, I think as energy costs just get as they go higher and higher, I think solar is going to look more attractive, and certainly they can be manufactured more cheaply, and they will be, and there's going to be a place where those two, upward and downward graphs will meet, and solar is going to be all the rage, even more than it is today. I think more and more governments should have more, as they have in Santa Monica, solar parking lots with these solar panels used to create the shade for the vehicles and to generate power for electric vehicles and other uses in the city of Santa Monica. There just needs to be more of that. We have such a resource here in this country of south-facing rooftops all over this country that we could coat with solar panels, and we could put an end to coal burning plants, put an end to nuclear plants, put an end to our dependence on Mideast oil, and on and on. This is stuff that is not pie in the sky, it's possible.
On the other hand, Governor Schwarzenegger signed yesterday the Million Solar Roofs bill. On the other hand, from that, Severin Borenstein at UC Berkeley was criticizing that deployment of funds strictly for photovoltaics, which we've just said would be a good idea, because he says it would be more cost effective now to put some of that money into other alternative and clean technologies such as wind power, which is actually a sort of a stealth technology that's providing more alternative energy in the U.S. now than any other source, I think, and is clean. And you're an investor in wind power yourself.
I am.
What do you see about whether there's enough money to go around, or whether some technologies ought to be prioritized, and what you think the best mix is?
Wind is getting the point now. There are many applications where to generate wind power it's costing you, I think, 3.5 cents a kilowatt hour or something, or 4. It's getting very, very cheap to build wind turbines and wind farms and feed it into the grid in a viable manner. So I think when you hear that, I think wind is doing just fine. I think solar is the stepchild that needs more help at this point. So that's why I'm in favor of the solar rooftop bill. And I'm glad that the governor signed that bill, and I totally understand where he's coming from saying that about wind, and you do get a lot of bang for your buck there, and you can eliminate a lot of use of coal and other dirty fuels. I understand that, but I'd like to see solar get as much of a boost now as possible.
Okay. Say something about Stirling engines that people don't know a lot about, and how they compare with photovoltaics, and what kind of usefulness they might provide.
You'll have to fill me in. Is that like the capstone turbine? Is that the same?
No, it's external. In the beginning of the 19th century, a minister in Scotland named Stirling was upset that James Watt's steam engine was blowing up and killing people. a lot. So he invented a external combustion engine that takes heat. In those days it was from burning coal, and moves the cylinder up and down.
Right.
And that motion is converted now, after all the other British scientists, Faraday and those people, and Maxwell, turned it into electricity.
Right, right.
And the way this is commercialized with solar, there are two big installations, one from Southern California Edison, one from San Diego Gas and Electric, that use solar mirrors to collect power, to collect
Right.
the solar incident radiation, and then heat the exterior of these Stirling engines, which then generate electricity.
Yeah, I've been to the Luz plant, L-U-Z, Luz plant out in Mojave, and that's pretty exciting technology. Have these troughs, these parabolic troughs that follow the sun all day,
Right.
and heat a liquid, in this case thermanol, and then that passes through a tank of water and it makes steam. And it's a very good technology.
Right.
I'm in support of
Right.
that too.
Okay, let's take the last few minutes that we've got here to talk about the politics of all this, and whether it might be possible to make candidates who are running for office at all levels now more aware of these issues and dynamics of the information, and get the two major parties in a bidding war as to which can move us to renewables faster. What strategy do you see that might work in that direction, if you do see one?
I am very disappointed in the outcome of many different races recently, people I've supported, and I think you just have to find candidates in any party. I'm certainly ready to support anybody who's going to really do what's necessary to ensure our future.
Or do you think it really takes individual and community action, and that political system is really not attuned to address these issues?
I'm afraid it's not, Mark. I'm afraid, as Gandhi said, when people lead, then governments follow. I don't think either party is ready now to take a leadership position on this. I'm very sorry to say that.
Right.
I've been a big supporter of the Democratic Party for years, support a lot of Democratic candidates. I reserve the right to support another one next election, I might. But, we have to lead. We individuals have to lead, and then maybe there'll be a critical mass of us doing something, and governments will do what they should be doing.
To make this one of the few interviews that quotes Gandhi twice, we
Yes.
could say he said you have to be the change that you want to see.
I think so. I think we have to.
Okay. Thank you for being the change and for talking to us today on Etopia News.
Thanks so much, Mark.